मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरो वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vipanscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhuta Sri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deva Siddhani Namo Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gaurapishemi He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Bhakta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwam Vrishabha Nisute Devi Pranamami Hari Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavan Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna. So welcome back to our Bhakti Vaibhava classes. We are continuing from 13th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto. So I hope all of you had a wonderful Balaram Jayanti festival. So with lots of Mahaprasadam also. Yeah, so I'll just share one. So to just summarize the 13th chapter. So this is what we were discussing. Dhritarashtra quits home. So previously in the 12th chapter, the Saunakadi Rishis, they inquired about the birth, activities and the demise of Parikshit Maharaj, which was broken for 4 or 5 chapters. They had already inquired in the 7th chapter of first canto. So again they reminded Sutta Goswami. So Sutta Goswami again started narrating the birth of Parikshit Maharaj that we have discussed in the 12th chapter, the birth, the Brahmanas telling Yudhishthira Maharaj about his qualities and his activities. So with that 12th chapter ended, and then this chapter starts with how Vidura came back to the Hastinapur for the sake of Dhritarashtra. Apparently it seems why this chapter is coming. There is no connection, but the connection is just as for the birth of Parikshit Maharaj, the events leading to his birth, that is Ashwatthama releasing Brahmastra, so all those things have to be said. Similarly, for the explaining the activities of Parikshit Maharaj, his coronation has to be told, how he was coronated. Before that, Yudhishthira Maharaj and all the Pandavas have to live. And before that, Dhritarashtra has to quit the home. So all those events have to be explained. So for that sake, 13th chapter, 14th chapter, 15th chapter, these 3 chapters are being discussed before explaining about the activities of Parikshit Maharaj. So now in the 13th chapter, so we saw that how Vidura comes back to Hastinapur after inquiring from Maitreya about spiritual knowledge. The first 2 verses we saw. Then how the residents of Hastinapur, all the Pandavas, Kauravas, all the very, as though they regain the consciousness, life. So they run towards Vidura and receive him properly. They make him seat. We also saw the guest reception, how guest reception should be done. They made him sit comfortably. They gave him nice foodstuffs to eat. They made him rest also. Then they started inquiry. So, and then from 8 to 13 verses, we saw how Yudhishthira Maharaj inquires about Vidura's pilgrimage. So before asking about his pilgrimage, Yudhishthira Maharaj asks, he is grateful about Vidura. Vidura just like a bird taking care of the baby birds. So like that, oh Vidura, you have taken care of us. So he was grateful for Vidura's protection. And then he starts inquiring about Vidura's pilgrimage. Then Vidura reveals about the Vidura doesn't reveal about Krishna's going away. So because he could not tolerate the Pandavas may not be able to digest. So he just only hints indirectly. And then 14 to 17, we saw Vidura's purpose for staying in Hastinapur. So he is not just coming to eat and enjoy in family life. He is just coming only for the purpose of delivering his brother. He is attached to family life. So that is discussed. And then from the 18th verse till 28th verse, Vidura very strongly preaches Dhritarashtra to quit home. So philosophically, first explaining him how the old age is approaching. So nobody can avoid it. So better live before that period only. And then he tells him that how you are living like a household dog, not worrying about your position. So after speaking strongly, then he tells that you leave home now. At least you become a Dhira. If you are not a Narottama, if you cannot become a devotee, at least become detached from family life and go to forest or go to north. So like that he, till 28 verses we saw. Then 29 to 37, Dhritarashtra, Gandhari and Vidura, they leave. And Yudhishthira Maharaj, early morning he comes and he sees nobody is there, he laments. Of course, so many things we saw in this section also, how Yudhishthira Maharaj is like a perfect householder, doing all household duties, getting up early in the morning, offering respects, doing his spiritual duties. Like that. So Prabhupada gave a very practical purpose for all of us. And then from last section 38 to 60, Narada Muni shatters the Yudhishthira Maharaj's lamentation and delusion. So while Yudhishthira Maharaj was lamenting, so from the airlines, Garuda Airlines, Narada Muni comes. And as soon as he comes, they all again receive him properly and inquire from him the spiritual subject matter. And of course, Yudhishthira Maharaj reveals his heart that he is not finding his aunt and uncle. And so tells Narada Muni to reveal. And he even glorifies Narada Muni. So before taking any counseling, we need to have confidence on the counselor and we need to express our problem and we need to be eager to receive the instruction that comes. So that part we have seen. I think we are there now. So we'll continue from that part. From 41, I will again start. So let us finish this chapter and we'll, I think, some chapter of 14th also will cover. So this is the 13th chapter. Now I will request our Anush Prabhu if you can share that Veda base.
Yes, Prabhuji.
And before that, if anyone have any question till now what we have covered, you can take. Otherwise, we'll move ahead. So by the time
Prabhuji, so I think the Yadu dynasty destruction has happened, or it will happen after this?
No, already.
actually, it was not hinted. So it was not told to the Yudhishthira Maharaj, but already it has happened. So already Yudhishthira Maharaj also, sorry, Pandavas also left. sorry, Pandavas name. Lord Krishna has left back to the spiritual world. But that is not told because he could not tolerate their morose. That's why he is waiting. Let the things come on their own way. So,
And where is the description of that? You know, the war between the Yadus? Which chapter it comes?
I think it comes maybe. Oh, this comes in the third canto. Here it doesn't come.
Oh,
But in
okay.
the third canto, the fifth chapter somewhere it comes.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Could you from text 41 or
41, 41. So here, Narada Muni is trying to dispel the lamentation of Yudhishthira Maharaj philosophically. Because Yudhishthira Maharaj is asking about whereabouts of his uncle and aunt. Because Narada Muni is Trikalagna, he can foresee everything, he can easily tell. But before telling their whereabouts, Narada Muni is trying to philosophically dispel the lamentation. Okay, that's what we are saying, 41 to 50. Narada Uvacha. So directly go to the translation.
Sri Narada said, O pious king, do not lament for anyone, for everyone is under the control of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, all living beings and their leaders carry on worship to be well protected. It is He only who brings them together and disperses them.
So, yes. So in this verse, there are two things that are being told. That the Yat Ishvara Vasham Jagat. So if you see the second line of the verse, so everything is under the control of the Supreme Lord. Ishvara Vasham Jagat. This whole world is under the grip of the Supreme Lord. That is the first thing. And the second thing is told in the last two lines. Sa samyunanti bhutani sayeva viyunticha. So if you see, so that means by his this thing only, the living entities are coming together and they're being dispersed. So these two statements are being told in this verse. Right? And to give an example for each one of them, the next two verses are told. That is the 42nd verse is an example for the Yad Ishvara Vasham Jagat. The 43rd verse is an example for the Sa Samyanti Bhutani Sayeva. So in this verse, what is told, like, because Yudhishthira Maharaj is lamenting that, oh, I am responsible. Maybe I have not taken care of my aunt and uncle properly. Like this is the case with Yudhishthira Maharaj. Even after the war of Kurukshetra also, he was lamenting, I am the cause for all the 64 people to be leaving their bodies. The nature of a devotee is a soft heart. He takes responsibility for anything that happens negative. Even though he's not the. So Narada Muni and of course the great souls, they keep telling that the Lord is actually responsible. We are just instruments. Everything is under his control. So he's trying to relieve Yudhishthira Maharaj about this suffering. So Lord's will is the supreme in the happenings of the world. So now you go to the purport from 6th line, I think, from the starting, 6th or 7th line. A living being is placed in, from there, that we can read that part.
A living being is placed in a particular position by the order of the Supreme Lord, and he is again shifted from that place by the order of the Supreme Lord or his authorized agents. Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Chandra, Maharaj Yudhishthir, or in modern history, Napoleon, Akbar, Alexander, Gandhi, Subhash, and Nehru, all are servants of the Lord, and they are placed in and removed from their respective positions by the supreme will of the Lord.
None of them is independent. So this is the point where Prabhupada is nicely putting all the leaders, even the past, right? Even the demigods, even not of this planet also, even the demigods, and even in this planet, the past, and even the present leaders. So everybody is coming to their post and position. Even now Modi jane ke baad kaun aayega pata nahi. So they're all under the control of the Lord or will of the Lord. They're not independently coming to their position without the sanction of the Lord. So that is being told. You are worrying about your uncle and aunt, how they will be protected. But Lord's control is everywhere. Without his control, nothing will happen. So that is the point being conveyed. Okay, we'll go to the next verse, 42nd. So this is an example for the how this principle is being applied. How everything is under the grip of the Lord. So this example is good. Yata gavo nashiprotas tantyam baddas chadamati vak tantyam namapi badda vahanti badimeshitu. Yeah, little functions can be made little big. Bas.
Prabhuji, may I go with the translation?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Translation. As a cow bound through the nose by a long rope is conditioned, so also human beings are bound by different Vedic injunctions and conditioned to obey the orders of the Supreme.
So, nice example is given that you see some cows are tied with a small rope to the nose, mouth, and then a long rope is there to tie to the pillar. Similarly, the Vedas are like that long rope which tie all of us, because without following the Vedic injunctions, we are committing sinful activities. We'll be gliding down. So we are bound by the Vedic injunctions. We are supposed to act only under the umbrella of Vedas. We cannot act independently. Then we are responsible. Right. So, and of course, the small rope, the long rope is, if it is a Veda, general Veda, and the small rope is like different nomenclatures we have, like Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, I guess. So then accordingly, our activities are limited. Brahmana means Yajan, Patam, Nama, like that. Kshatriya means protection. So every Varna has, every ashrama has their own activities. They're limited by that. So nobody is independent. They cannot independently act. So this example is being quoted. From the purport, yeah, go to the middle of the purport, maybe after 10 lines, but instead of becoming free, the only way to get out of the Supreme, go down 8 or 10 lines from the top. Not this one, 42nd purport. Yeah, you know. The only way to get out of the entanglement is to agree to the, from there.
The only way to get out of the entanglement is to agree to obey the Supreme. But instead of becoming free from the clutches of Maya or illusion, foolish human beings become bound up by different nomenclatures, being designated as Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Mohammedans, Indians, Europeans, Americans, Chinese, and many others. And thus they carry out the orders of the Supreme Lord under the influence of respective scriptural or legislative injunctions. The statutory laws of the state are imperfect imitations, replicas.
That is sufficient. So basically, so all these injunctions are there. Why there are restrictions Like why there are traffic rules. So why there are rules and regulations? I'm asking. Why do we
To keep
find
law and order in place.
law and order? If traffic rules are not there, all vehicles will go in their own way. Traffic jam ho jayega. So similarly, the Vedas are there. Majority, the Vedas, why they offer sense gratification? Because we all have come for that purpose only. So that without any undue competition, we can properly get our quota of sense gratification. Then we need to follow some Vedic instructions. So then everybody will get their own quota, peacefully enjoy, and then rest of the time you focus on the spiritual upliftment. So that is the whole plan of the Vedas. But the purpose of Vedas is what? Vedascha sarver ahameva ved. Ultimately, one should come to the point that he surrenders to the Supreme Lord. Daivi Esha Gunamai, Amamaya Duratya. So the material energy cannot be overcome by any other means. The only way is to surrender to the Lord. Sarvadharman Parityaj. ये कंक्लूजन पे आना है, इसलिए इतना पूरा सिस्टम भगवान ने बनाया, क्रिएशन किया और वेदास को रचा. But if that purpose is forgotten, and people are just caught up in the nomenclature of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, or superficially they are trying to follow Vedas without understanding the purpose, then the purpose is defeated. That's what Prabhupada is telling. That without surrendering to the Lord, just get caught up in the nomenclatures. That is not good. We'll go to the next verse, 43rd. This is second analogy, second example, for how the people meet together and how people disperse by the will of the Lord. So for that, this example is there. Yata kridopaskaranam samyoga vigamavya ichaya kriditusyatam tataive sechaya nudaham.
As a player sets up and disperses his playthings according to his own sweet will, so the supreme will of the Lord brings men together and separates them.
So like this, the Lord is here compared to a player who is just playing with the toys. I mean, he's assembling them and then he's joining them. It appears little like the Lord is little whimsical. He takes playthings according to his whim and he plays, and then after that he will destroy them. So this analogy appears little harsh, right? तो भगवान ऐसे क्यों करते हैं? लोगों को साथ में लेके आते हैं और जब उसका इच्छा पूरी हो जाती है उसको तोड़ देते हैं. This is child, how child plays with the toys. But that is not the point, the focus here. So for that we need to understand there are two more analogies explain about the same philosophical point. So one comes in the, anyone knows, like similar analogies comes in the Bhagavatam, how people are coming together and dispersing. If anyone remembers any sloka? Already I quoted, I think, last time.
As the leaves come together in a
Yeah, correct.
water.
So in the force of the waves, the leaves, the grass particles, they come together and then they can be dispersed. So this comes in 10th canto, Vasudeva and Nanda conversation. Shrota Shor, Plavanam Shrota Shoyata. So like that. So this explains how by the force of time, people are coming together and they're dispersed. Right? And there is one more, it comes in the 7th canto, Prahlad Maharaj section, where Hiranyakashipu is telling to the relatives when Hiranyaksha was killed, that to pacify their lamentation, he tells that, oh, just like we are coming together, all family members, just like in a hotel, somebody goes to drink or eat, they meet for some time, they talk, and then again they disperse. So this analogy is given in 7. So this first analogy, if you see, by the desire of the individual, they come together in a hotel to drink or eat. So it is by the desire of the living entity they're coming together. So but the second analogy, if you see, the force of the waves, the grass particles are coming together. That is actually the force of time. Kala. काल का प्रभाव से लोग साथ में आ रहे हैं, then getting dispersed. But this analogy now, which Narada Muni is telling, it is much deeper. It is telling that beyond the desire of the living entity and beyond the force of the time, there is a person, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose will is supreme. So that just that an example is given, that the player, he can bring them together, the toys, and he can separate. Similarly, the lawmaker, he has made the laws. The Lord only has made the Kala Chakra, right? Everything is revolving just to the smallest degree of point also. Everything is finally rotating the Kala Chakra. So what point of time the event should happen, that will happen at that time. Right? All the grahas, the planets are revolving, bound by that Kala Chakra. Right? But the Kala Chakra is independent. It is not independent. It is also running by the will of the Lord. Therefore, the will of the Lord is supreme. Why it is told? Because sometimes the Lord can change his will also. That Prabhupada writes in the purport, especially when a pure devotee is involved, the Lord can change the karma of a living entity also. Right? If you want, if the living entity has to suffer this much, but Lord can make him suffer this much. Something like that. So that point is being made here. Narada Muni is telling to Vishnu Maharaj. So I think the purport, you go to the middle of the purport. The example of a player and his plaything should not be misunderstood. That we can read.
The example of a player and his playthings should not be misunderstood. One may argue that since the Lord is bound to avoid the reactionary results of our own actions, the example of a player cannot be applied. But it is not so.
Just a minute. So you are understanding, na? So somebody may say that, oh, this example is not correct because the Lord is bound to avoid the reactionary results. Like Krishna only, when speaking to Nanda Baba before Govardhan Leela. So why to stop the Indra Puja? So Krishna promotes this Karmavad philosophy. अरे हमने कर्म किया है तो रिजल्ट्स आना ही चाहिए. Bhagavan just has to give the results. He is bound to give the results. वो कर्मवाद है. कर्म ही सब कुछ. So on the opposite है एक है दैववाद. दैववाद means everything is depending on the Lord only. आप किया जो किया नहीं किया कुछ फर्क पड़ने वाला नहीं है. सब भगवान के जैसे इच्छा है वैसे. So these are two extremes actually. Karmavad and दैववाद. So but the middle thing is that we have to do our part and wait for the mercy of the Lord. Like put the seeds in the field and the farmer has to wait for the rains. He cannot say that अगर rain नहीं आएगा तो seeds लगा के क्या फायदा है, मैं कुछ करूँगा नहीं, ऐसे नहीं. So therefore that is being told here. Some people argue like that, but that is not correct. The Lord can change the laws also. Yeah, continue this.
But it is not so. We must always remember that the Lord is the supreme will and he is not bound by any law. Generally, the law of karma is that one is awarded the results of one's own actions, but in special cases, by the will of the Lord, such resultant actions are changed also. But this change can be affected by the will of the Lord only and no other. Therefore, the example of the player cited in this verse is quite appropriate. For the supreme will is absolutely free to do whatever he likes, and because he is all perfect, there is no mistake in any of his actions or reactions. These changes of resultant actions are especially rendered by the Lord when a pure devotee is involved.
Yeah, you can stop here. So basically, Lord generally doesn't change the law, but sometimes he may change when the pure devotee is involved, or for the purpose of his mission. What is his mission? To get back the conditioned souls. So for that purpose, sometimes he may change the law. So therefore, the law is greater or the lawmaker is greater?
Lawmaker.
Yeah, so the lawmaker is greater. Therefore, that principle is being told in this verse. Okay, so now 44th verse. Go ahead. Yanmanyase dhruvam lokam adhruvam vanacho bayam sarvata nahi sochaste snehad anyatra mohajat.
O king, in all circumstances, whether you consider the soul to be an eternal principle or the material body to be perishable, or everything to exist in the impersonal absolute truth, or everything to be an inexplicable combination of matter and spirit, feelings of separation are due only to illusory affection and nothing more.
So now Narada Muni told a very established a philosophical point in the previous 3 verses that everything is in Lord's control. Right? So don't lament. Now he is telling that there are 4 possible analysis that can be made regarding our position. So irrespective of whatever conclusion we come to, there is no need to lament, because the affection is which we have to others is illusion. What are the 4 possible philosophical analysis that can be made? Go to the verse, Sanskrit part. Yeah. Yan manyase dhruvam lokam adhruvam va na chobayam. That means dhruvam, if you consider the soul is, dhruvam is eternal. The soul is eternal. If you consider we are eternal, that means the soul is eternal. That is first condition. The thing adhruvam, or if you consider this body is perishable, the second possible conclusion. Va means either. So either the soul is eternal or the body is perishable. So that is na means neither. Sorry, this is neither. Neither the soul is eternal nor the body is temporary. That is the third philosophical possibility is we are Brahman. We merge into the Brahman ultimately. So that is and the 4th one is Chobayam means either. So neither is one case, neither. Either the soul is eternal or the body is temporary. Prabhupada writes that inexplicable combination of matter and spirit come together and then we are alive. Something. So whatever you may consider, don't worry about the Lord. Lord को भूल जाओ. पहले 3 वर्सेस में क्या बोला? भगवान कंट्रोलर है. तो आप unnecessarily lament मत करो. अभी इस श्लोक में क्या बोल रहे हैं? It is taking a different angle. That if you consider this body is temporary, the soul is eternal, or Brahman is the truth, you merge into the Brahman, or we are a combination of inexplicable combination of matter and spirit, still there is no need of lamentation, because that affection is only illusory. You can take one case, you can take. If you consider body is temporary, kiske liye affection चाहिए? Anyway, the body is going to die. Or if you consider the soul is eternal, the soul को तो देखा ही नहीं आप, किसके लिए affection है आप? अगर affection है तो भी soul eternal है, किसके लिए lament कर रहे हैं? So like that, in all cases, we can resolve this, boil down this to that why this affection for the others is illusion that we have. So which is out of ignorance only. So give that up. So that is being told in this verse. A similar argument comes in Bhagavad Gita also. I don't remember where it comes. Anyways, so we'll go to the next verse, 45th. So after this, he is telling, Tasmat jahi anga vaikalavyam ajnana kritam atmanah katam tu anata kripana varteram stechamam vina. Translation.
Therefore, give up your anxiety due to ignorance of the self. You are now thinking of how they, who are helpless, poor creatures, will exist without you.
Tasmat. So Narada is telling, give up your lamentation, therefore, because philosophically, yeah, if you consider Lord is Supreme Controller, the four analysis we have seen in the 44th verse. So there is no need of lamentation. Do that. So now the question is Yudhishthira Maharaj's lamentation for his uncle and aunt, is it wrong? I'm asking all of you. Or is it right? If it is right, okay. The question for all of you, that is Yudhishthira Maharaj's lamentation for his uncle and aunt, is it wrong or right? Anyone?
Right.
You have to explain your answer also.
Because Yudhishthir Maharaj is a king, and also he had a responsibility to
Okay, as a king, he is responsible to his citizens.
citizens, and to liberate and help them to a devotional service.
Anyone would like to try? More than a king, Yudhishthira Maharaj is a son, right? For Gandhari and Dhritarashtra. More than a citizen, sorry, more than a king, he is more than that. His affectionate son. But is that lamentation correct?
Prabhuji, it must, like Yudhishthira Maharaj has a lot of sensitivity in the heart. So from that point of view, he is saying that I could not provide for them, care for them. So which shows his, sentiment as a fine sentiment as a devotee.
Yes, yes. Nice, very good answer. So this is actually the sentiments of a devotee. A devotee is not devotee matlab he should be having a soft heart. Of course, Vajradapi Katoram, Krishnadapi Komalam. So both sides we have seen in Prabhupada also. Vishnu Maharaj certainly lamenting because he is a devotee. Devotee is always grateful for whatever is being done to him. And he's remembering that because when the Pandu is not there, he was taken care by Dhritarashtra and Gandhari. So, in that sense, it is correct. From a human platform, like here I have written, for a perspective, so what is lamentation is correct. But the point is here, Ardaman is telling, give up lamentation. Means what? It's not that you stop lamentation. It's telling, okay, lamented for some time. Now give it up. You have to go ahead in life. That's the point. So lamentation is okay, but don't just keep on lamenting. There are so many duties we need to perform. Otherwise, they will get obstructed. We can't go along Therefore, we need to give up and we need to come to the transcendental perspective. Maybe from human perspective, we are lamenting. So, but we need to come to the transcendental perspective also. Of course, they are souls. Lord will take care of them. They are going to the next destiny. Right? So, but on the human level, we need to have the concern for people. That's not wrong. We'll go to the next verse. We share the 46th. कालकर्म गुणादिनो देहोऽयं पाञ्चभौतिका कथं मन्यांस्तु गोपायेत् सर्पग्रस्तो यथा परम्. Is a famous verse. Translation.
Chandan, this gross material body made of 5 elements is already under the control of eternal time, kala, action, karma, and the modes of material nature, guna. How then can it, being already in the jaws of the serpent, protect others?
So, previous verse, if you see, Narada Muni told that, Yudhishthira Maharaj told that they are poor, helpless creatures. Previous conversation, Yudhishthira Maharaj told to Narada Muni. So, they went to forest, what happened to them like that. So now, Narada Muni is telling that, you say that they are poor, helpless creatures, but everyone is helpless. Because everyone is under the grip of Kala, Karma, and Guna. These three things are binding everyone. It's not that just your aunt and uncle are helpless. You yourself are helpless. You are under the grip of these three things. And now you are thinking that you can protect them. Just like when somebody is in the grip of a serpent, python, what he can do to help others who are free. Therefore, this analogy is given. Like how somebody is under the grip of guna, we all know from Bhagavad Gita, we saw that Prakrute Kremanani Gunait Karmani Sarvasa. So we think that we are the doers, but the gunas are acting. Somebody is in the goodness, he acts in a particular way. Somebody is in passion, he acts in a particular way. So the same situation may be there. People will act differently depending upon the modes they are in, right? Like we have that example of a hat seller who is coming from a village to the city to sell his hats. In between, under the tree, he takes rest, and the monkeys take away the hats. So, right, somebody in good and how he behaves, passion, how he behaves. Like, so that means what? We are actually under the grip of the modes. Our behavior is, and our responses that we give, generally it is depending upon the modes. So beyond the modes, what is there? Kala, karma, and guna. Guna is the least, and then karma is there, our own activities. The previously how we acted, now we are getting a different body. Like somebody gets a set of body with set of senses. Somebody can sing nicely, somebody can play instruments nicely. So it means our actions now, they are also dependent upon our karma in the previous life. So therefore we are bound by our karma. The present body we are given, it is under control actually. We cannot act beyond the limitations. And of course the Kala, the Supreme Kala is there. So which is controlling this. So these three things, we are not free from them, then how can we help others? So the purport will go to the middle of the purport.
Yes,
most persons are passionate and ignorant. Yeah.
most persons are passionate and ignorant, and therefore their plans and projects can hardly do any good to others. Above the modes of nature is eternal time, which is called Kala, because it changes the shape of everything in the material world. even if we are able to do something temporarily beneficial, time will see that good project is frustrated in course of time. The only
So
thing.
take a step. Even if you say you have overcome passion and ignorance and you come to goodness, because in goodness people will do something good, very beneficial. But still, that thing will not last long because the Kala is there. The Kala will destroy everything, the final stroke. So therefore, don't worry, honestly lament. So thinking that they're helpless creatures, or what they will be, or how they will survive. So give that up. Next verse. Go to next verse 47. Yeah. So there is one Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He gives in the purport of the previous verse that previously you said that Yad Ishvara Vasham Jagat. Everything is under the control of the Supreme Lord. Right now you are telling everything is under control of Kala, Karma and Guna. So why this is so? So anyone would like to answer? Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is putting this question. Previously, 41st verse, right? We saw that Ishvara Vasham Jagat. Now, the 46th verse is tell that Kala Karma Gunadino. Everything is under the grip of Kala, Karma and Guna. So, how to resolve this?
I'm just trying.
Yeah, try.
So, like Kala, Karma, and Guna are the system of that is also created by the Lord. So, ultimate cause is the Lord, and but immediate cause may be because of our like eternal time and the Guna and Karma.
Exactly. This is the answer. What Vishnu Chakravarti also gives. So, because the Lord, when a king acts, he doesn't act, he need not act personally. So, his energies are there, right? His soldiers are there. Similarly, when the Lord acts, he has many energies. Parashya Shakti Vivideva Shuriyate, Swabhaviki Gnana Balakriyach. So many energies. He just will, he desires, and things get done to his energies. So, this is a system for the material world. Kala, Guna, and Karma, they also act under the will of the Lord only. They don't act independent. Right? So, like you go outside, the traffic police is stopping us. Is he independent? Of course, he has a trust. He is representing government, right? So, it's the control of government only is happening through the traffic police. Similarly, the Kala, Karma, and Guna, they're acting under the control of the Lord. So, how the Lord is controlling, that is in detail explained in the 46th verse. So that is the connection. Okay. So we'll go to the 47th one. This is also very important verse. Ahastani sahastanam apadani chatuspadam palguni tatra mahatam jeva jevasya jevanam.
Hare Krishna. Translation. Those who are devoid of hands are prey for those who have hands. Those who devoid of legs are prey for the four legs. The weak and the strong and the general rule holds the one living being is the food for another.
Yeah. So here, because the Lord is fully in control, Lord will establish a system to take care of people. He is the maintainer. He is the maintainer of all living entities, not only your aunt and uncle. He has already made a system. Don't worry. So for that, Krishna Maharaj Rinadamani is telling this example. Hastani Sahastana. So those who are devoid of hands, pray for those who have hands. Of course, Srila Vishnu Chakravarti says that the animals are prey for the humans. Like that. So that means what humans subsist on the animals. Like that. We'll come to that point. But so there is a system of mighty. Those who have power, they can exhibit the power on the weak. So like that. That's how the material world is created. So this is the system, struggle for existence. So even though this is a general law which the Lord has created, but Prabhupada says there is a law of good sense also. Like even though the general law is there that humans can subsist on eating animals also, the general law. But there is a law of good sense also where the humans can refer to the scriptures and raise their consciousness above this general level. There is a general law and there is a higher law. The humans need to follow that higher law. In the purport, if you go in the middle of the purport, but although the law of the state from there. Sixth line, seventh line from the top.
But although the law of the state that a human being must subsist on the other living being, there is a law of good sense also. For the human being is meant to obey the laws of the scripture. This is impossible for other animals. Human being is meant for self-realization, and for that purpose, he is not to eat anything which is not offered to the Lord, first offered to the Lord.
So that is the point. So because the scriptures are meant for human beings only. Animals totally karma hota hai. Animals, there is no karma only. They act by instinct and they have to just spend the karma. But the humans, there is a junction where by their actions, according to the scriptures, they can uplift themselves. Even though the general law is there, they can sustain on the eating animals. But there is a law of good sense also. That is Prabhupada telling here. Yeah, next verse, 48. Translation.
Hare Krishna. Therefore, O King, you should look to the Supreme Lord only, who is one without second and who manifests himself by different energies and is both within and without.
Now he's concluding his philosophical dialogue that therefore Lord is there, Lord's control is there everywhere. Lord only established the system, Lord will take care. Don't worry. You see the Lord only in everything, who is one without a second. He may act through his energies, but see his hand only. Ultimately, his hand only is there everywhere. And who manifests himself with different energies, both within and without. Within he is there as Paramatma, and without he is there as Chaitya, the spiritual master. So therefore, Prabhupada writes in the. So therefore, anything happens in the life, so therefore you need to connect how it is the will of the Lord. Then our lamentation, our worry will reduce actually. When we see the hand of the Lord in everything that is happening in our own lives, not just in Vishnu Maharaj's life, or we are seeing the characters of the scriptures, but in our own personal life also. So this is how we need to see, because the energies are acting immediately, immediate cause, maybe some energy, some person, right? So there is a one verse, in 11th canto it comes. Now, how it starts. Yeah. Nayam jano me sukha dukkha heto na deva rushi. So it comes like this. Maybe you can refer later. Ayam jano me sukha dukkha heto. Nobody is the cause of my suffering. So who is the cause? Neither the demigods are the cause. Neither the Kala is the cause, neither the Karma is the cause, neither the relatives are cause. So the whole list he gives. Nobody is the cause of my suffering. Who is the cause? Mana Parama Karanam Avananti. My own mind. This mind is the only cause of my suffering. I need not blame anyone. Because of this mind only, I have taken this body now. तो किसको गाली दूंगा मैं? अगर ये जिह्वा आया दांत के बीच में है, और sometimes we own bite our own tongue, who to blame? Similarly, anything, any suffering that we are going through, the Lord, unless the Lord sanction doesn't come, immediate cause may be different people, say neighbor person, our own husband or wife, or maybe other devotees. So, but ultimately, we are only responsible. So take that responsibility. So then we will be peaceful. So that is what Yudhishthira is telling, that look towards the Lord only. आप, क्योंकि भगवान का मिशन क्या है वो समझो. भगवान ने सृष्टि को किस लिए किया है कि सब जीवों को भगवत धाम लेके जाने के लिए. So that is the purpose. Understand that purpose, and you also assist in that purpose of the Lord's mission. भगवान आते हैं उसी के लिए आते हैं इस जगह. Just be a part of the solution. Don't become a problem, right? So your purpose is to assist in the Lord's mission for that, not just lamenting about the temporary situations here. मेरा aunt चले गए, मेरा uncle चले गए, ठीक है, वो जब ठीक है, लेकिन भगवान का कार्य में आप मदद करो अपनी. So give this up, this unnecessary lamentation. That is how Narada is inducing. Yeah, go to the next verse, 49th.
Hare Krishna. Translation. That Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, in the guise of all devouring time, Kala Rupa, has now descended on the earth to eliminate the envious from the world.
So the same Lord, so Sri Krishna, so in the guise of Kala Rupa. So Kala Rupa means he came in the guise of Kala Rupa. He has devoured all the Kauravas in the war. Right now he is. So the same personality of Godhead has come as Krishna now. Right? So he is revealing the identity of Krishna. He is none other than the Supreme Lord only, who came in disguise as Kala Rupa and performed this Kurukshetra or whatever. And he is responsible for all the things that happened to you. So therefore, you also join in that mission of the Lord. So where the Lord comes, Paritrana Sadhuna, Vinashaya Chadushkutam. So very good. So whatever the Lord does is for the good of everyone only. So we go to the verse once. So here, if you see the second line, it is said, Adya Bhagavan Bhuta Bhavana. So he is the Supreme Lord with all opulences, and he is the maintainer of all living entities, right? So he is the maintainer of all living entities, not only the pious living entities, but the envious living entities also. But the same Lord, he comes as a Kala Rupa. Even though he is the Bhagavan with 6 opulences, he is having nice, intimate dealings with his devotees. But the same Lord comes as Kala Rupa. For what purpose? To Vinashaya Chadushkutam, to kill the envious people. So because what happens is when the population of these envious people increases, they trouble the devotees. Right? So the devotees become troubled. Therefore, to decrease their population, the Lord comes. And of course, this recently happened is, from the context, the Kurukshetra war happened. So the Lord came and that war is done. So now you just wait for the Lord's further actions. Don't unnecessarily lament, get sidetracked with other things. like it. So it appears that Lord is partial, Surat Visham, the fourth line, if you see, Abhavaya Surat Visham, who's against the Asuras, they're against the will of the Lord. So the Lord is killing them. It appears the Lord is partial to devotees. Even Parikshit Maharaj, right? He questions in the 7th canto starting, first chapter. How can the Lord take the side of the demigods and kill? Right? Hiranyakashipu or Hiranyaksha. It seems that Lord is partial to demigods. Like that, Parikshit Maharaj asked question and Narada Muni there, of course, Surya Goswami, citing the Narada Muni in this thing section. He tells that the Lord is actually not partial. Lord is reciprocal. So you should not misunderstand Lord's action. So, Yeyatamam prapadyante. Lord reciprocates with the other persons besides. Somebody wants to become a devotee, Lord will reciprocate accordingly. So, how we can see this? Like, Lord is impartially partial. Samoham sarvabhuteshu says, I'm equal to everyone, but I'm dear to my devotees. What is this? So impartially partial. So that means what? Generally, the living entities, they come with a desire to enjoy separate. So Lord gives them a chance through the scriptures, through the saintly people, to make them devotees. So therefore, is open to everyone. Prabhupada also says, I am equal to everyone in the matter of giving an opportunity for them to become devotees. I am open. Like that. So therefore, that is our impartiality. But in that impartiality also, when somebody starts becoming devotees, then they are coming from this general category to another set, the devotee set. And now they are no more the general categories. The general category is impartial in giving knowledge, in giving them a chance. But once you become a devotee and come to the other side, a devotee category, now Lord will reciprocate according to your desires. You will become a person who is partial to you. So there is impartial only. So therefore it is impartially partial, or he is reciprocal. So like that. So whatever he does, it may be a slap for an atheist. So but it is for their good only. So that a devotee has to see that Lord's hand, whatever is happening in my life, ultimately it is for my good only. 10th canto Brahmaji's prayer is that Taptenu kampam sushimekshamanam bunjana evatma kutam vipakam. Pritvago buddhir vedatan namaste kal jiveda yo somukti. Sapade dayava. Who can claim the kingdom of God? So that person who goes through the odds of this world, sufferings of this world without grudging, very happily accepts them. This is my own karma coming, and happily receives and goes ahead in service. So that is the person who can claim the kingdom of God. So there Brahmaji's prayer it comes. So one more example, like for devotees, the Lord is like cat carrying the kitten, right? And for the non-devotees, it is like a cat carrying the rat in the mouth. So that's how. For a devotee, he is the Supreme Lord, Bhagavan. The death is not a problem. We just go back to the spiritual world. But for a non-devotee, Lord comes as a Kala Rupa. Right? But death is, it snatches everything away from him. So that's the difference. But it is for their good only. Yeah, so the 49th, then we go to the 50th verse. Last verse of this section. Then we'll take break 5 minutes. Nispaditam deva krutyam avashesham pratikshate tavatyuyam avikshatvam vavedyavati.
The Lord has already performed his duties to help the demigods, and he is awaiting the rest. You Pandavas may wait as long as the Lord is here on the earth.
So Lord has already कुरुक्षेत्र वार हो गया, जिसके लिए आया है विनाशाय दुष्कृताम, धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय हो गया. So just he is waiting for the purpose of Yadus also to go away. तो वो इधर बताते नहीं. Yadus also kill each other and they again, because their devotees ना, they came from the spiritual world to assist in the Lord. उनको भी wind up करना है ना, वो बचा है. So Lord is waiting for that. So you also wait till that time. Yeah, you wait as long as the Lord is here and then. Go to the middle of the purport. When there are too many asuras in the world, then it becomes a hell.
When there are too many asuras in the world, then it becomes a hell for those who are devotees of the Lord. Due to the growth of the asuras, the mass of people who are generally devoted to the Lord by nature and the pure devotees of the Lord, including the demigods in higher planets, pray to the Lord for relief, and the Lord either descends personally from his abode or deputes some of his devotees to remodel the fallen condition of human society or even animal society.
Yeah.
Such actions take
Wait.
place.
That is sufficient. Already I discussed this point. Go to the last 3 lines, like Vidura did not disclose last part.
Narada, like Vidura, did not disclose the imminent annihilation of the Yadu dynasty, but indirectly gave a hint to the king and his brothers to wait till the incident happened and the Lord departed.
So it appears from this statement, like our Ramkishore Prabhu asked the question, that the
Yes.
Lord has left the planet. So it appears from these statements in this purport that the incident has not yet happened. It is going to happen. So check करना पड़ेगा. Okay, anyways. So we'll take a 5 minutes break now. So we'll continue this chapter. Hare Krishna. Don't lament for your uncle and aunt. Now the Narada Muni is telling about their whereabouts. So where Dhritarashtra is, Vidura is there, and Gandhari is there. Right. So 51st verse, please share the screen.
Guruji, Ramkishore Prabhu will be sharing now.
Yes, Roger, I'll be sharing. Just a second.
Dhritarashtrasya bratra Gandharya cha svabharyaya dakshinena himvata rishinam ashramam gataha. This is the translation. Yeah.
Your uncle Dhritarashtra, his brother Vidura, and his wife Gandhari have gone to the southern side of the Himalaya mountains, where there are shelters of the great sages.
So he's now telling about where they are. Go to the next verse. Shroto saptavirya vai swaduni saptada vyadat saptanam pritaye nana sapta shrota prachakshate.
The place is called Saptasrota, divided by 7, because there the waters of the scarce Ganges were divided into 7 branches. This was done for the satisfaction of the 7 great rishis.
Saptanam pritaye nana sapta shrota prachakshate. So where this is exactly, we need to do research. Where the Ganges divided into the 7 branches, it's called Sapta Shrota, for the pleasure of the 7 sages, Sapta Vishus. So that place, this Dhritarashtra and Gandhari went, and they are performing the tapasya. Okay, next verse, 53, translation, great.
On the banks at Saptastrota, Dhritarashtra is now engaged in beginning Ashtanga Yoga by bathing 3 times daily, in the morning, noon, and evening, by performing the Agnihotra sacrifice with fire and by drinking only water. This helps one control the mind and the senses and frees one completely from thoughts of familial affection.
Yeah. So here Prabhupada explains about what is real yoga. Yoga is not gymnastics or just breathing exercise. So go to the middle of the purport. By material association, the purport, 10th line maybe from starting. By material association and education, read that part.
Roji, can you repeat which part?
By material association and education, we learn simply to concentrate on flimsy things.
By material association and education, we learn simply to concentrate on flimsy things. But yoga is the process of forgetting them altogether. Modern so-called yogis and yoga systems manifest some magical feats, and ignorant persons are attracted by such false things, or they accept the yoga system as a cheap healing process for diseases of the gross body. But factually, the yoga system is the process of learning to forget what we have acquired throughout the struggle for existence. Dhritarashtra was all along engaged in improving family affairs by raising the standard of living of his sons, or by usurping the property of the Pandavas for the sake of his own sons.
Yeah, I think we'll stop here. So, by material association and education, we learn simply to concentrate on flimsy things. So, very powerful statement. So, Prabhupada is telling that yoga is the process to forget all these things today. That is the purpose of yoga, to be detached from the material association. So, like Prabhupada was telling, persons are doing PhD on the grass. So, grass के ऊपर PhD कर रहा था. When Prabhupada went to West, he was talking with one person. And Prabhupada told that instead of wasting your time trying to research on grass, you try to understand who put this grass, who put the grass here in this place. So at least there will be some credit to you. So therefore, there are so many PhD men that go detail into the matter. So there is one Chetan Chandra says, no? So to increase the longevity of the soap bubble, soap jab apply karenge, bathing, so the bubbles that form, that come, so that will make a very nice experience on your body. So to increase the longevity of that bubble, how long it will stay in your body, the research is being done, right? And there are so many patents for it. So this is material world. So that's what Prabhupada is saying. Material association and education, we learn simply to concentrate on flimsy things. Eating, waiting, sleeping, defending. इसके ऊपर ही पूरा focus. And what is yoga? Yoga is to make us detach from this false association. That is the purpose of yoga. असली yoga है ना. यम, नियम, आसन, प्राणायाम, प्रत्याहार, dharana, dhyana, samadhi, the eightfold process, which here Dhritarashtra is trying to do a little bit of them because he's not a devotee yet. So he's mixing up Bhakti Mishrita Yoga process ko apply karke wo ek kar raha hai. Because ultimately the purpose is because he cannot positively engage himself in service of the Lord, whatever reasons. So therefore, at least by yogic process, let him be detached from the material false association. Yeah, he can go to the positive side like that. So that is the point. Go down the purport. There is one more. A foolish man wants to be a cheap yogi without observing. Purport only. I think from the bottom, which is
A foolish man wants to be a cheap yogi without observing the regulative principles. A man who has no control over the tongue at first can hardly become a yogi. Yogi and bogi are two opposite terms. The bogi or the merry man who eats and drinks cannot be a yogi, for a yogi is never allowed to eat and drink unrestrictedly. We may note that with Prophet how Dhritarashtra began his yoga system by drinking water only and sitting calmly in a place with a spiritual atmosphere, deeply absorbed in the thoughts of the Lord Hari, the personality of Godhead.
So very important. Yogi and bogi are two opposite terms. So Prabhupada also tells that Krishna consciousness and sense gratification go in together. So it's like trying to ignite the wood at the same time you are pouring water on the wood. So of course, what does that means? Prabhupada clarifies in the Dhruva Maharaj section that when Dhruva is also performing austerities, right? He goes to the forest. First month he eats only fruits and vegetables, then leaves, like that. Every month he is increasing his austerities. So there Prabhupada writes in the purport that we cannot do anything of what Dhruva Maharaj has done. So we are so unqualified to perform such austerities. So there, all the devotees of ISKCON, Prabhupada writes that what we have given is chant 16 rounds and follow 4 regulative principles. If you can do this properly, that is actually equal to what Dhruva Maharaj has done at that time. So Prabhupada's Acharyas, they mercifully give this concession, understanding our position. So at least this is the expectation. So if we are able to follow nicely the 4 regulative principles, first understand what they are, what are the subtleties, and then chant our rounds, 16 rounds, attentively as possible. So then we go ahead nicely. And whatever is coming in between the sense gratification, that we need to restrict, which is coming in between this following 4 regulative principles and chanting 16 rounds. Of course, Prabhupada writes in many places, and we also that whenever the question of tongue control comes, Prabhupada says, we just eat Krishna Prasad. By eating Krishna Prasad, automatically the tongue will be controlled. So that is a practical at our level what we can follow. Eat prasadam nicely, whatever you want to eat. And remain a yogi. So yogi means it's not just to, in the name of yoga, do all what you want to do, but it is to detach oneself from the mental association. Go to the next verse. 54. The translation.
Hare Krishna. One who has controlled the sitting posture, the yogic asanas, and the breathing process can turn the senses towards the absolute personality of Godhead and thus become immune to the contamination of the modes of material nature, namely mundane godness, passion, and ignorance.
So, a preliminary angas bataya hai. First 2 lines, we go to the verse. Go to the verse. Jitashano, Jitashwasha, Pratyahara, Sadindriya. So, yoga mein kya, Ashtanga yoga mein, first 4 limbs are like initial limbs. They're external activities. Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara. So, those 4 limbs are being told in the first 2 verses. And the next 2 lines, Haribhavanaya, Tvasta, Rajas, Sattva, Tamamaya. So, that is Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, the later part. That is being told in the last 2 lines. It is Ashtanga Yoga is being practiced by Dhritarashtra, mixed with Bhakti. So the purport. Yeah, the theme of the purport is Bhakti Yoga, the direct process for controlling the senses. Even though Dhritarashtra is trying to mix with Ashtanga Yoga, so by engaging in devotional service, we can achieve the same message. Yeah, not. Yeah, in the middle of the purport go. Passion and ignorance increase the material propensities of hankering.
Passion and ignorance increase the material propensities of hankering for material enjoyment, and strong sense of lust provokes the accumulation of wealth and power. One has conquered these two base mentalities and has raised himself to the platform of goodness, which is full of knowledge and morality. Cannot also control the senses, namely the eyes, the tongue, the nose, the ear, and touch. But one who has surrendered himself unto the lotus feet of Lord Hari, as above mentioned, can transcend all influences of the modes of material nature and be fixed in the service of the Lord. The Bhakti Yoga process therefore directly applies the senses to the loving service of the God. Lord. This prohibits the performance from engaging material activity.
The point is, so Bhakti Yoga, we directly engage the senses, our eyes, ears, nose, in the service of the Lord, therefore they're automatically controlled. So in the yoga process, what we will try to restrain from the sense objects. Right. So there is little difficulty in that. Yeah. So once you, by that restriction, you come to goodness, then from there you go ahead. But in Bhakti Yoga, because you are directly engaging your senses, so there is no question of those senses dragging you to the negative sense objects. Therefore, it becomes very important that Bhakti is very simple. That all we need to do is engage all our senses in the service of the Lord. For every sense, there should be a sense object in devotional service. Agar wo nahi hai na, if you are not absorbed in using our senses in devotional way, the senses, they always pull us. That's why the senses are, Bhagavad Gita में इसलिए भगवान बोलते हैं कि the senses are superior to the dull matter, or sense objects. Because the senses have the nature to pull you. The senses automatically they get dragged toward the sense objects. अगर आप उसको सही sense object दिया नहीं, तो वो जाएगा negative sense object. Therefore, it is up to us how we engage ourselves in Krishna consciousness. इसलिए बोलते ना, say yes to Krishna. Learn to say yes to Krishna instead of trying to say no to Maya. कितना बोलेंगे no, सबको no बोल के आप थक जाएंगे. So therefore, always say yes to Krishna. So 55th verse.
This prohibits.
Yeah. Translation.
Dhritarashtra will have to amalgamate his pure identity with intelligence and then merge into the Supreme Being with knowledge of his qualitative oneness as a living entity with the Supreme Brahman. Being freed from the blocked sky, he will have to rise to the spiritual sky.
Brahmani Atmanam Adare Katambaram Ivambaram. So from the material sky, the spiritual sky. So how Dhritarashtra is quitting his body, that is told here. Like how the yogic way of getting liberated. So you can read the purport. A pure devotee of the Lord does not live on any planet of the material sky. Yeah, last paragraph, I think, purport. Second paragraph.
A pure devotee of the Lord does not live on any planet of material sky, nor does he feel any contact with material elements. His so-called material body does not exist, being surcharged with the spiritual current of the Lord's identical interest, and thus he is permanently freed from all contaminations of the sum total of the Mahat Tattva. He is always in the spiritual sky, which he attains by being transcendental to the sevenfold material covering by the effects of his devotional service. The conditioned souls are within the covering, whereas the liberated soul is far beyond the cover.
So pure devotee doesn't have a material body. So here the yogic way of coming out of the material body, that is being told, like, because the initial thing that is created is Mahatattva. Mahatattva के बाद false ego create होता है. False ego in goodness, more passion, ignorance. That this is given, sequence is given. Similarly, while winding up, you have to reverse the sequence. So the yogi with his meditation, he reverses the sequence and winds up. But for a devotee, he need not do all these things. Because for a devotee, there is no material body only. Why? Because he is surcharged with devotional service, everything becomes spiritual. All the elements become spiritual. Just a iron rod, when it's kept in the fire, the iron rod practically it becomes fire. Similarly, when the devotee is 24 hours soaked and absorbed in devotional service, he doesn't have a material body. Therefore, he is already liberated. Jivan nape utopisa. He is liberated soul even in this life. So that is the point. Go to the next verse and read translation of Prabhupada. I'll just bring my charger and getting.
Translation. He will have to suspend all the actions of the senses, even from the outside, and will have to be impervious to interactions of the senses, which are influenced by the modes of material nature. After renouncing all material duties, he must become immovable, established beyond all source of hindrance on the path.
Mataji, please read the purport also.
Okay, Prabhu. Dhritarashtra had attained by the yogic process the stage of negation of all sort of material reaction. The effects of the material modes of nature draw the victim to indefatigable desires of enjoying matter, but one can escape such false enjoyment by the yogic process. Every sense is always busy in searching for its food, and thus the conditioned soul is assaulted from all sides and has no chance to become steady in any pursuit. Maharaj Yudhishthir was advised by Narada not to disturb his uncle by attempting to bring him back home. He was beyond the attraction of anything material. The material modes of nature, the gunas, have their different modes of activities, but above the material modes of nature is a spiritual mode which is absolute. Nirguna means without reaction. The spiritual mode and its effects are identical. Therefore, the spiritual quality is distinguished from its material counterpart by the word nirguna. After complete suspension of the material modes of nature, one is admitted to the spiritual sphere, and action dictated by the spiritual modes is called devotional service or bhakti. Bhakti is therefore nirguna, attained by direct contact with the absolute.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji. We read the purport, translation and purport.
Okay, this is which verse number?
56.
56 हो गया. Okay, 56. Yeah, now go to next verse. Translation.
Translation. O king, he will quit his body, most probably on the 5th day from today, and his body will turn to ashes.
Yeah. So now, after telling about the Dhritarashtra's process and his process of liberation, Yudhishthira Maharaj may tell that, oh, I want to go and see my uncle. So then Narada is telling, no use. So already he has left the body, and the body is also burned to ashes. So you need not go and perform the funeral rites also. Don't do that. So for that, Narada is telling this verse. Next verse, 58. Translation.
While outside. While outside observing her husband, who will burn in the fire of mystic power along with his thatched cottage, his chaste wife will enter the fire with rapt attention.
Yeah. So here Gandhari also entered that fire of Dhritarashtra. So Prabhupada explains the importance of sati in this purport. The end of the purport, a chaste wife like Gandhari would feel separation. Down, you come down from bottom 6th or 7th line. Not that one. Chaste wife like Gandhari would feel the separation of her husband.
A chaste wife like Gandhari would feel the separation of her husband to be more burning than the actual fire. Such a lady can observe the sati rite voluntarily, and there is no criminal force by anyone. When the rite became a formality only and force was applied upon the lady to follow the principle, actually it became criminal, and therefore the ceremony was to be stopped by state law. This prophecy of Narada Muni, who Maharaja Yudhishthir forbade him to go to his widowed auntie.
So Yudhishthira Maharaj may say that, okay, I will go to meet my aunt. Then Narada is telling, no use. Your aunt Gandhari also left her body in the same fire. So here a very important principle comes that how the wife would not bear the separation of husband. That they used to voluntarily themselves burn in the same fire. Like that. But later in Kali Yuga it is prohibited because there is but because it is forced upon them that it is there in the scriptures, the wife has to also give up the body. But that is voluntarily done in the previous years. Here Prabhupada writes, the Gandhari could not feel the separation of her husband. It is more burning than the actual fire. That's how they used to feel separation. So that kind of we can't expect now in these days of Kali. So therefore it is prohibited. But when that formality remained, people are forcing, then the state laws have to be applied. The next verse, 59.
Vidura, being affected with delight and grief, will then leave that place of sacred pilgrimage.
Yeah. So now Vidura, after seeing that his endeavor, his attempt has become successful, that for that purpose only he came all the way from Maitreya pilgrimage to Hastinapur, and by strong words Dhritarashtra has quipped the palace, and Gandhari also followed, and now he has practically seen that they have given up these bodies and this attachment, and for that he is very happy, he is delighted, but at the same time he is also sorry, grieved. So sorry क्यों है? क्योंकि Prabhupada explains in the purport that he could not make him a devotee. Devotee बन नहीं पाया अभी. Why devotee नहीं बन पाया? क्योंकि वो अपराध किया, वैष्णव अपराध किया पांडवों के प्रति. offense could not make him accept the devotional service fully. Therefore, at least विदुरा ने क्या किया, उनको मेटेरियल एसोसिएशन से डिटैच कर दिया by strong preaching, and he gave him a process, Bhakti Mishrita Ashtanga Yoga, by which he could liberate from this body, and maybe next life, or Bahunam Janmanam Ante, after many lives, Vasudevam Sarvamiti Samhatma, he come to devotee. Therefore, a very important principle that already when somebody is becoming a devotee, it's so rare. So therefore, we need to give that respect and honor to the devotee. Because understanding that is not so easy. After so many lifetimes of so many practices of different Ashtanga Yoga, Gnana Yoga, hardly few people come to devotion. And somebody is already coming. How fortunate he is. And how fortunate that we are also having, getting the opportunity to associate. So therefore, devotee should not take devotees very lightly. No matter you may be a neophyte devotee also. But a neophyte devotee is also far superior to the greatest of yogis, because he is in the right path. Very soon he will become pure by Lord's intervention. Right? So that is the point. And we should be very careful about Vaishnava Aparadha. Dhritarashtra could not become a devotee. The last verse. I will recite the verse. Ityuktva turaha swargam narada sahatumburuhu yudhishthiro vachastasya hridik krutva jahachuchaha. Translation.
Having spoken thus, the great sage Narada, along with his Veena, ascended into outer space. Yudhishthira kept his instruction in his heart and so was able to get rid of all lamentations.
He was so able to get rid of all lamentation. Right? Yeah. So in the previous verse, 59th verse, Narada Muni is also telling Yudhishthira Maharaj, he may say that, okay, I will go to meet Vidura and I will bring him to Hastinapur again. But I think don't worry about Vidura also. Vidura also left for further pilgrimage. So Vidura bhi chalega, Dhritarashtra bhi gaya, Gandhari bhi chalega. So you just now wait for some time till the Lord remains in this world. So ये सब बता के नारद मुनि, along with his Veena, the transcendental Veena, always this is quoted, Saha Tumbura. So he left to his spiritual place. Yudhishthira Maharaj kept his instructions in his heart and was able to get rid of all lamentation. The purport one should follow, one should therefore try to follow in the footsteps of Narada Muni. Read that.
One should therefore try to follow in the footsteps of Narad Muni and not make a fatal effort to reach other planets by mechanical means. Maharaj Yudhishthira was a pious king and therefore he could see Narad Muni occasionally. Anyone who desires to see Narad Muni must first be pious and follow the footsteps of Narad Muni.
Yes.
Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the first canto.
Completed the 13th chapter finally. So the point here is, Prabhupada is making that we cannot go to higher planets by mechanical means. So Narada Muni ke jaise spiritual man banna chahiye. Spaceman, spiritual spaceman. So by pious activity, you can go to the higher planets. Nowadays, recently, we are seeing so much news about Chandra and this thing, that thing. But of course, our stand is, unless one is pious, have spiritual credits, he cannot go to the higher planets. Not by any mechanical means. And
few questions whenever
regarding this Chandra, that is little controversial. We may not.
Not Chandrayaan, different question. Dhritarashtra related.
Yes.
So, Prabhuji, I am just wondering the timeline. So we just hear that, Viduratha instructs Dhritarashtra and he immediately leaves. And then Yudhishthir Maharaj, he comes and he finds that Dhritarashtra and Gandhari have left. And then we hear in just a few days, he gets liberation also. So like even Dhruva Maharaj, he had to practice for 6 months. But here we say in 5 days, he is leaving the wicket, getting perfection. So this I am not, just wanted to confirm. Is it so fast that he is getting...
Yeah. So they left after hearing the harsh words. Maybe one guess could be the Narada Muni is foretelling these all things will happen. Maybe it happened or will happen. We have to find out. So in that sense, ultimately it will happen.
So Prabhuji, what kind of destination did Dhritarashtra get? Did he get Sayujya Mukti? Like what was his state? Because he says liberated yogi, it says.
So at least he is detached from this material body. Of course, the purpose is to make him a devotee. So because the pure devotee is wishing that he become a devotee, certainly Lord will give some place where he can continue his practice of devotional service. Like Ajamila was given a second chance, right? By chanting the name of Narayana, he was liberated actually. Of course, with this yogic process, what Dhritarashtra is doing, just by chanting Narayana, even without feeling or indicating his son, Ajamila was liberated more than Dhritarashtra. But still, because he was not a devotee, the second chance was given to him to practice devotional service. So he goes to that ashram and perform. So similarly, I don't know exactly what happened, but he may be given some chance to practice devotion. So these details, I think we have to find out what exactly happened.
One more thought was that, people in Kali Yuga are much more fallen than even Dhritarashtra. And they are recommended only the process of Bhakti Yoga. And here still we find that Dhritarashtra could not be elevated to pure devotional service. So is it that we get very high favor of the Lord, or what is it? Like how we can get, more than even Dhritarashtra?
Yeah, that's Prabhupada says that you don't have any qualification. I have made the qualification. It's only the mercy of acharyas that now we are here. We are given this rare opportunity. This is one way. And the other way is, as I mentioned in the purport, Prabhupada says that because Dhritarashtra was an offender, that's why the Vaishnava offense, how very serious it is. So he could not.
Offender. That was the main problem.
That is the main point. He is an offender. Therefore, he could not be given that. So these two factors are there. Okay. So we'll go to the next chapter. I think we have 5 more minutes. Just we'll start the link at least.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Oh, you have a question? Okay, let me just finish this purport of last, the 60th purpose. The one more point is there that Yudhishthira Maharaj, he was meditating upon Narada's instructions and then left all his grief and lamentation. That is the point. So similarly, for us, by meditating on the good instructions of the spiritual preceptors, our counselors or whatever, Guru, we hear the lecture of Guru Maharaj, like that. Every day we read Bhagavad Gita. So by the touch of the spiritual instructions, we can also be freed from the lamentation or worry or whatever. So many things keeps coming in, right, daily basis. So therefore, we need to keep that spiritual touch with our preceptors or Bhagavad Gita or hearing from Guru Maharaj, like that. Even Narada Vyasa Samvad also, this thing comes. Yeah. So you can see the example of Arjuna only. Before Bhagavad Gita spoken, how he was lamenting. Vepatuscha sharirene romaharshashcha jayate gandivam samsute statapcheva paridahyate. Gandiva is slipping down, my hair is standing on the body, right? I'm feeling burning sensation. This is the same Arjuna, and after hearing Bhagavad Gita, what he was telling? Nasta moha, smutir laptva, Gata Sandeha, Karishye Vachinam Tava. So this transformation has to come in our lives when we are reading Bhagavad Gita or hearing some lectures, that all our grief and lamentation should go away. If that is not going away, maybe we are not doing it in a proper way. So that we need to check. Okay, so we finished this chapter. Now I can take some questions.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Pranam. Prabhuji, I have a question that जो वैष्णव अपराध होते हैं उन सबका सेम रिजल्ट होता है या फिर अलग अलग रिजल्ट भी होते हैं? आई मीन बॉडी के ऊपर भी कुछ इफेक्ट आता है या फिर कैसे है, मतलब कुछ केसेस में?
बॉडी के ऊपर भी आ सकता है। पुंसो महद अतिक्रम, जैसे हिरण्यकशिपु का केस में ना, जो प्रहलाद महाराज को ऑफेंड किया ना, तो पूरा उनको शरीर से निकालना पड़ा भगवान को आके। तो वन वर्स also comes, पुंसो महद अतिक्रम, आयु, even your lifespan becomes reduced, shriya, your beauty becomes reduced, aishwarya become reduced. So many things are given. One verse is there, I am unable to recollect. That even your body may be removed.
Prabhuji, even Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's son-in-law, he was criticizing
Amoga.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Correct. Amoga, right? So Amoga,
yes.
उनको पूरा, he was on the bed. He got diseased.
उसको leprosy हो गया था ना, उसको he got a leprosy in a body. What's this thing?
Then Mahaprabhu himself comes from that. Why you are giving room for envy in your heart? Then Lord himself comes in. Yeah, there are different degrees, and also it depends upon whom you are offending also. Like कौन सा category का devotee है, कनिष्ठ अधिकारी, मध्यम अधिकारी, उत्तम अधिकारी. So that the more pure devotees you offend, the reaction will be severe. So therefore, Prabhupada has created such a wonderful movement, ISKCON. So where we are trying to practice, we are not pure, but we are trying to become pure. In the midst of devotees, like we are like different hard rocks, right? And we come together and we try to brush each other, trying to trouble each other, and then we become fine, right? Therefore, the offenses in between us, even though they may not be very serious, what we do to each other, but we, of course, we need to ask forgiveness, and then like that again, helping each other, encouraging each other. So we go ahead. So imagine if we are just placed, if we are in association with the pure devotees, like sometimes we say, Guru Maharaj ji ka sang kyun nahi milta hai humko? Why we are not with pure devotees? The problem is jail nahi payenge aap. They are like fire. आप उनके साथ एक दिन रहो, आप इतना ऑफेंसेस करेंगे करके भगवान आपको निकाल के किधर फेंक देंगे. So therefore we are fortunate that we are now given the chance to practice for that association. So we are in safe zone. So therefore try to practice here. Okay, Hare Krishna. I think I'll stop here. So we'll try to cover 14 chapters, pretty simple chapter. So we'll try to finish maximum tomorrow.